All right, so in this video, we've got a if statement quiz here, some multiple choice, and let's just dive right into it. So we've got a question here. What value of x will cause the following print statement to print incorrect? Okay, so we're looking for to print this. So we want false here, okay? So how do we get false on an or? We need this false or this false. Okay, so we need one of the two sides to be false in order for us to print incorrect, right? If either one of these are true, then we are not going, so, if either side of this, the math.abs less than 16, or if the x less than 0, if either of those are true, then we are in trouble. So now we start looking at our answer options. And what I'm going to home in on here is this x less than 0. Is there any way for this part to ever be true given our answer options? And my statement here is that I think that x less than 0, given our answer options, is never going to be true. So we can just forget about this. So we can say this is always false given our answer options. So now we just need math.abs of x less than 16, we want false. Okay, so for 0, the absolute value of 0 is 0, and that is less than 16, so that would be true. The absolute value of 5 is 5, so this would be true. The absolute value of 10 is 10, so this would be true. The absolute value of 15 is less than 16, so that would be true. And the absolute value of 20 is not less than 16, so this would be false, and this would be the answer that we would select. Okay, so a few steps there. And the important thing, just kind of going over our methodology, is we saw the question, and then we started identifying the if statement. We looked at whether the if statement would need to evaluate to true or false, and then we looked through the values and we figured out what causes the if statement to be true or false, and we found ourselves this little shortcut here with the x is less than 0 bit there. All right, moving on. After this code segment is executed, what will be the value of x? Okay, so this one, we're just going to run the code, and this one looks kind of complicated, so let's check it out. So let's see. So x is equal to 5. So if x is less than or equal to 5, and I think that this is true, so I'm going to circle that this part happened, and I'm going to cross out this part. And you can do this on your paper if you're taking a paper test. So if x is less than or equal to 5, we're going to plus equal to 4.1. So then that means that x is equal to 9.1. Okay. So now we've got this expression here, which is pretty difficult here. And it does look like when I made this test question, there was a missing equals equals. Oh, no way. So wait a second. Wait a second. I didn't make a mistake here. This was on purpose. Look at this. We're going to zoom all the way in here. Math.pow50 equals 1. That's bad. That's bad code. Okay, I'm writing that huge letters. That's bad code. So that means we don't even need to do all of this. We just know that this code will not compile or execute properly. So a little hint for you is that we didn't need to do any of this. So one of the things, this kind of answer option, this code will not compile or execute properly, is a very common thing that you'll see on the exam. And so if you do see this as a type of answer option, you can just go ahead and scan the code and see if there are any compiler errors. You've written enough code that you'll know what's up, and you'll know whether or not the code will compile. So that's something that you can check out before you start running through all of the logic of everything. So that'll save you some time. Okay. This one is kind of just actually a vocab question, almost like just do you know the definitions? variables S1 and S2 are initialized properly. Which of the following expressions correctly evaluates the true if S1 and S2 contain the same string? So this is like string S1 equals hello. You've seen this on the slides. If you've watched the slides on this video, on this channel, you'll know that what the answer is here. And this channel, if you want to support the channel, if you could like this video and subscribe, that would be very helpful. So let's see here. I know the definition, but let's just mark out some crazy ones here. So we know basically that with strings, we need no double equal signs. So we can just get rid of this, we can get rid of this, and we can get rid of this. Now, there's two options here, s1.equals s2. I happen to know that this is the right answer. And string.equals s1, s2, that does look kind of possible, but this is not a thing that we've ever seen in Java before. So again, this is a bit of a memorization question. Nothing too crazy there. Okay. So what is the value of this expression? 5 less than 10 or false? So we know we need, if this, what is 5 less than 10? This is true, right? 5 is less than 10. So what's true or false? And you just got to know the definition of the or symbol, and the answer is true. Okay. So after this code segment is executed, what will be the value of x? So here we go. We see this code will not compile or execute properly as one of our possible answer options. But let's just zoom in on the code. Is there anything here going line by line? Is there anything that looks like it won't compile? No, it looks like this will compile and it should be fine. So we can go ahead and cross this out. This is not one of the things we need to worry about today. So we do actually need to go through and run this code kind of in our head here. So we've got x equals 5, x less than or equal to 5 is true. So that means that we're going to do this section up here, and this is kind of how I'd circle it. And that means we're not going to do this section down here. And it's the less than or equal to sign, right? That's what makes it true. So that means that we set x equal to x plus 4. So that means that x is equal to 5 plus 4, which means that x is 9. Okay, and 9 is indeed one of our answer options. So there you go. What is the value of this expression? 5 greater than 10 equals false. This is kind of interesting. So 5 greater than 10, and I'll just kind of write it out like we would in 8th grade math class. So this 5 greater than 10 is false. So does false equal false? It actually does, right? Those two, false and false, are the same value, so this would evaluate to true. Okay. What modification, these are always kind of tricky. What modification to this code segment will make it print dog? Okay. So we want this to be printed, which means we need x less than 5 or x not equal to 10 to be true. So right now, x less than 5 is false. And right now, x not equal to 10 is false. So we need this to be true. Okay, so these are both false. So that means changing the or to an and, that's not going to help. False and false is still false. No changes required. I disagree, because false or false is false, which means that we won't print dog. Change the not equal to an equal. So let's see what would happen there. X less than 5 or x equals 10. That would be false or true here, right? And so that would evaluate to true. So I'm thinking it's this one. Changing x to double, that doesn't seem like it's going to work out. And then changing the less to a less than or equal to isn't going to work because 10 is not less than or equal to 5. So the correct answer right there is C. Okay. Oof. What value of x will make the following expression evaluate to true? So we see the and symbol in between, which means we need true here. I'll say we need true here and true there. So we need x mod 3 equal to 2. X mod 3 equal to 2. Okay, so it's interesting here. So I talked about this idea of short circuiting in Java. So if we need both sides to be true, we can actually just find, and we know that one of these answers down here is gonna be the right answer. Well, that's actually, we do need to do both sides. So don't short circuit on the test because that does not actually apply. So don't just find the one on the left-hand side that's equal to true. You need to check both sides. And so I think here, about as good as it's going to be to get is to evaluate all of these. So is 0 mod 3, 0 mod 3 is 0. So that is not 2, so false. Okay. So here we can do 1 mod 3 is 1, and that is not 2, so false. So then here, 2 mod 3 is 2. Okay, now is 3 mod 2 is 1. So that was pretty good. I would just, in a situation like this, I would check all of these, but 3 mod 3 is 0, is not 2. And so once we know that one of them is false, we just cross it all the way out. And then 4 mod 3 is 1, and that is not 2. So that means we cross that out, which means that, in fact, and I'll even put it in green, our right answer is right here. Okay, perfect. Just got a few more questions here. Okay, so let's look. After this code segment is executed, what will be the value of x? We see one of our answer options is this code will not compile or execute properly. Let's look through. It usually isn't that, but I'm just now kind of extra nervous about it because that happened to be one of the answers here. So let's see, we've got x equals 5, x less than, all of this. You're reading through every line and seeing, does this look like Java that I've seen in the past? Are all the semicolons there? Have we messed up an equals and not equals? And so it seems like we're fine here. So this is not the case. Okay, so you can take a look at the question for a second here. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Okay, so now we just run the code. So is 5 less than 5? No. So that means we're not going to do this upper part, and we're going to skip right to the x. So that means that x is equal to x plus 3. That means that x is equal to 5 plus 3. That means that x is now equal to 8 after the first if statement is completed. Okay, so now let's evaluate this expression. So we need to evaluate 8 mod 3 equals 0 or 8 mod 3 equals 1. 8 mod 3 is 2. So, and then 8 mod 3 is 2. So this is false or false. And that evaluates, in fact, to false, which means that we don't do the top part of the if statement here. And then, wow, so we get x equals x minus x mod 3. And so that means that x is equal to 8 minus 8 mod 3. And we know that 8 mod 3 is 2. So 8 minus 2. So that means that x is in fact equal to 6. Wow. That's a long one. So those ones are really tough. You saw me do it pretty fast, but there's a lot of things there and a lot of things that you might get wrong. But again, like I think what I want to demonstrate in this video is that, you are really just needing to be careful and being step by step. It's almost impossible to do one of these questions without using scrap paper. That's something that I always want to tell people is do not try and do this expression in your head. Oh my gosh. Good luck if you try and do that in your head. Okay. So let's check this out. After this code segment is executed, what will be the value of B, the Boolean B? And let's see. So one of our answer options is this code will not compile or execute properly. We scan this over. This looks good. This looks good. This all looks normal. This all looks normal. This looks normal, normal, normal. Okay. And we're getting a lot of quizzing of the modulo operator. So the modulo operator always comes back. Always important. Okay. One more sip of water here as I cross this up. Okay. So x equals 10. So let's evaluate this expression. So 10 mod 5 equals 0 equals b. So this is 10 mod 5 is in fact 0. So we have that equals false. So we have true equals false. And that evaluates to false. So that means we can cross out this whole thing. That's false, which means that we don't do the upstairs part of the if statement, and we do the downstairs. So now we do b equals, let's see, 10 mod 5 equals 0. 10 mod 5 is 0. 0 equals 0, that is true. So that means that b equals true, which means that the value of b after evaluating or executing the code is in fact true. And you could have, with your guesstimating skills, already eliminated 5 and 10 because those aren't even Booleans. Okay, just one more question here. Okay, so integer variable x is initialized properly. Okay, so Boolean b1 equals true and false. So, well, before let's actually read the question. Which value of x will cause the variables b1 and b2 to have the same value? So we get our different numbers, and then there are no values of x that cause b1 and b2 to have the same value. That is a possibility. So we're going to have to look into this. Okay, so b1 is false, right? Because true and false is false. So b1 is false. So now we want false over here. Okay, so let's see, I'm gonna write it down here. So x greater than 5 or true. So if you see an expression like this, in order to make this, I'm gonna say this again, we want false. So in order to make this false, we want x greater than 5 false. Okay, so let's see. Is 0 greater than 5? Wait a second. Oh, wait a second. Oh my gosh, I got something backwards. Let's check it out. X greater than 5 or true is always true. That's always true. Which means that B2 is true. Doesn't matter what the value of X is, B2 is true. So B1 is false, B2 is true. That means there are no values of X that will cause B1 and B2 to have the same value. So the key thing is, so going through this, we wanted false, X greater than 5 or true, but that's always true. So we can't get the false, which means that there are no values of X that will cause it to have the same value. So always be careful with the trues and the falses and kind of feeling like there's some double negatives and stuff like that. Don't get tricked. Don't get tripped up. You just got to go through and kind of simplify the expressions as much as possible. And you see me writing things like we want false, and kind of simplifying things and saying always true. So that's a tip there for these sort of if statement Boolean questions. And I don't have any more questions. I think we went through about 10 questions here, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. And as always, if you do appreciate these videos and want to keep seeing more of them, if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel, that would be great. Thanks.